I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. I got a big surprise for you at the end, so stick around, okay? And I know I'm 5 minutes late, and that's about normal, right? That's just about right. Okay, so the Amazon Essentials, on March 17th, Amazon announced that it was only going to sell the essential items in order to protect us all from rubber chickens. But then demand got so high, they just started selling everything they could, and they're just going gangbusters, and and everybody's worried about proximity. But Candace Owens yesterday tweeted a big picture of a crowded marketplace in India that's only had 160 cases of COVID virus. It's like, but they're pumping that hydrochloroquine. And same with Africa. They don't have social distancing. I think social distancing has been unproven. I would like to say to Dr. Fauci, if you think hydrochloroquine is unproven, social distancing is unproven. So why is that the prescription? Time to stop. Time to start calling your officials saying, hey, who gave you the right to keep me in my house? I'm not on house arrest. I'm a citizen. You work for me. Anyway, coronavirus is a sign for us to end the open office floor plan. I don't know what this picture is about, and I don't even know what this article is about because I didn't really even read it. But this is funny. Open office plans, I did read some of it, were designed around a lie called collaboration. That's right. Yeah, I collaborate. People ask me questions, I give them answers. If I stop giving them answers, this is all over. So, offices exist for a reason. Amen. It's so we could smoke. When I first started as a consultant, I could smoke in my office. And, there's so nobody here. I'm going to have a smoke today, I think. In my office, I'd go outside, but it's in the 30s, really windy. It's so cold out there. I rode my motorcycle. I got on. It looked so beautiful out because this week we had like a day almost in the 70s, and it's so cold. Okay, there is satisfaction in writing an idea on a piece of paper and hanging it up where you can see it. Yeah, I got my chart back here of a big funnel, and I put post-it notes up there on people I want to pester to death. Anyway, so yeah, maybe coronavirus will end the open office. Okay, Ray Schultz had a headline, don't email this Friday or Easter or Sunday, and that was nice, but that's not what this article is about. When I hit the condense button, it took it away. I don't know where it went, but this is the article I wanted anyway. Tech pros face challenges. So not only is the open office a challenge, but so is remote work. Work at home, WAH, is a challenge because you don't know what they're up to. And they got a VPN right into all your data, right? And that is a challenge. Okay, so you got to kind of think about it. I would like to say, and I'm virus checking like crazy. It turns out that my 1/10 internet speed was probably from some viruses, and I've kind of poo-pooed the virus thing, not only in the physical world but in the world of computers, because I haven't really had that much of an issue over the last, let's see, I started my first PC I got in 1981, I think, and I really haven't had that many that were really for sure viruses. But what happened was that my internet was on a fixed location, and somehow that got taken away. I don't know what was going on, but that seemed to slow it way down. So 50% of, and here's some other things in the study. 50% of firms use AI in one or more projects, and 90% of those that have implemented AI did so in the past year. Biggest challenge, data and funding talent. 90% use a public cloud service. But what's interesting to me is that for some of their data, but most data is still stored in-house. Yeah, what we've done is build our own private cloud so that it can't be gotten at by the internet. it can't even be gotten at by this computer, because this is the worst computer we got. This one is out there in the Wild West. My other computers are generally Linux, harder to stick a virus to Linux, and but our customer data and our modeling services are, not only are they isolated, but in some cases they're running on stuff that we're running on blade servers. It's up to the minute. It's up to the minute hardware, but it might be running an operating system that's pre-virus targets, like a Windows 98 or a Windows 2000 or something. So if you want super security and a super fast machine, try finding a browser that'll run on old Windows 98. It goes smoking fast. You can't even believe it. Now, a lot of stuff won't work. That's why I keep it to the old apps. And meanwhile, 50% of these firms are actively hiring. And 47% say they will, but this might affect the hiring. They might affect the hiring process. We've done the same. Works very well for us and our clients. Comes from Phoenix. Yes, sirree. It's great. You know, that stuff used to work, and it still does. And you can find an old copy of Open Office and Excel and all that, and it's all basically, it's before they got crazy about licensing, too. So you can, you know, you're set. You're set. Don't tell anybody, but we'll go head-to-head with the latest and greatest. Doesn't bother me at all. Okay, this is an interesting article by Mark Ritson. He said when he started out as a professor at the University of Minnesota, there was he wanted to do an ethnographic study on consumer I don't know what, spending or whatever, how consumer attitudes affected spending. And there was a freeway that was going to go through Native American lands, and there was a bunch of activists that made a little camp out there. And so they were called countercultures of consumption. And he decided to see how they managed. And this was right before Y2K, where people were saying, what if all the grocery stores shut? What if everything went to nothing? Now, one of the things I always kept in mind was when you see even refugee camps, I mean, as blunt as I'm going to be, you'll see kids with Nike t-shirts on and stuff. In Lebanon, which had a civil war for like 20 years, you'd still see people having coffee in cafes in town. So human beings are, and I kind of like, I've seen some Civil War productions where they talk about how you could make money getting goods, moving them around. And so human beings are very, very, very creative at how they get stuff where it needs to go. But he said there was this spirit in the 1999 world, and he called it Pneuma after Max Weber, prophetic Pneuma. And there were all these writers saying how the world is going to change post 2000. And there's always this inspiration that this crisis will somehow change humanity forever. That, I saw a YouTube video where you could use a squeeze bottle if you didn't have any toilet paper. And I was, thinking, well, yeah, I suppose you could. Or hop in the shower or something. I mean, there's ways. A lot of the world doesn't use it, and it was only around since 1880. Maybe it's just a passing fad. But basically, everybody's predicting that this is going to change forever. X will change forever after coronavirus. Pick your X. Leadership, media, work, universities, sports, how we live, globalization, consumption, or the world. And that's only after a few weeks. But he says, looking back, those counterculture modes did not change the world in 2000. And he said consumers are miserable explainers of their own behavior. Good point. A point I've made many times, that one of the reasons why modeling is difficult is that consumers are terrible at explaining their behavior, and they're even worse at predicting their behavior. So if you wanted to really work hard at debunking customer journey and a lot of other things, just stand outside your Walmart, which is probably still open, and ask people what they're going in to buy, and then check when they come out, see if it matches. It'll probably be 1 in 100 if they're really in an emergency and really only need one thing. But most of us go in there thinking, I wonder what else I need now that I'm here. Okay, so I basically agree 100%. So where most writers are arse hats, I don't know if that's a real word, they love drama, they're addicted to the pornography of change. They adore making specious, rambling predictions about the future because, as the ad contrarian blogger Bob Hoffman dryly but brilliantly observed, if you're a marketing genius with a terrible track record, the future is a great place to hide. And I could say the same about the news. Right. In reality, nothing will change. The impact of coronavirus right now is massive on everything, but when we emerge out of lockdown, the consumers, the media, and marketing itself will quickly snap back to its former heuristical norms. You heard it here first, folks. And hopefully it snaps back faster than we think, because as far as I can tell, the numbers do not bear out what we're doing to ourselves. I find it really funny that because of climate change, Australia banned nuclear power when they have most of the uranium. You know, we demonize fossil fuels, which are really compressed plants, not fossils, because we have the most in the world, so we demonize those. You know, it just whatever you really got, abundance. Let's work against that. But anyway, here comes the surprise I promised you. This is one of my favorite things, and I think you'll enjoy it too. So sit back on this Good Friday and enjoy this perspective.
My feet on that stuff. When I sat down, my pastor hit my knee. He said, "You did all right. You did all right." I said, "You're next, Pastor. You going to be able to top that?" He laughed. He said, "Son, sit back.
This is Tony Campolo.
Because the old man is going to do you in." I didn't think he could pull it off. He got up, and for the next half hour, that sucker did me in. I couldn't believe it. He did it in with one line over and over again. It's Friday, but Sunday's coming. It didn't sound like much when he started. You guys often start so slow in low gear. It takes you about 5 minutes to get into high gear. Friday, he said Jesus was dead on the cross, but that's because it was Friday. Sunday's coming. Somebody yelled, "Keep going, keep going." That's all he needed. He took off. Friday people are saying as things have been, so they shall be. You can't change things in this world, but I'm here to give you the good news. It's only Friday. Sunday's coming.
It's Friday, but Sunday's coming. Happy Easter.